How this works, you can hit pause.
No, there is no pause in the show. We are going live. We are streaming now. And thanks for everybody tuning in. That's not true. It's not live. However, we are starting. And so I am Sam Schneider. I am Bad Beard. And we are back again with another exciting episode. And I know you've been clamoring, sitting on the edge of your seats. And here we are. And so Nick DeKay.
What's going on?
Nicholas DeCalculus.
Whatever you want to call me.
Whatever I want to call you. So this is Nick DeKay. This is a good buddy and neighbor by about 15 minutes. And I have had the pleasure of knowing you for some time. We've worked together. We've played together. And let's get a little introduction on who you are. You can just tell our friends at home just a little bit about yourself, and then we will go from there.
Okay. You got my name right. Nick or Nicholas DeKay. Either one works. I work in film as primarily as a stunt performer, but I'm doing my best to transition to being a movie director. It's a hard road. Involves bamboozling people out of millions of dollars for your dumb ideas. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Your background being now in the film business, you've had a hand in several different activities that cross over into my world and why we get along so well. That's motorcycles, that's racing, that's the background of obviously what it takes to be a stuntman. What is that?
So, I started racing in WERA, I guess when I was about 20.
WERA?
WERA is, I think it stands for like Western Eastern Racing Association.
Okay.
It's motorcycle road racing. But I started doing that when I was about 20. And
where are you living at this time?
I was in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, okay.
Yeah.
You're from Atlanta?
No, I'm from Maine originally.
Maine.
But my parents got divorced and I came down here and then went to college here and did all that good stuff.
Does that go Dogs?
No, I went to Georgia State.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't go to UGA, but nothing wrong with them, I suppose. I don't know. But so I started racing motorcycles in college and, had fun with it. Was never really good at it, but I really liked doing it. I was just good enough to lose at the expert class.
There you go. To get in is a feat of its own.
Yeah, I guess.
I can get through the gate.
Yeah.
They'll give me a microphone and let me talk, but they're not going to let me race. So
yeah,
you've achieved something.
Yeah, I was just good enough to make sure there was tire contingency for the guys winning in expert.
Okay.
So I was there to make sure they had enough guys in the grid so they'd get full tire contingency all the way back through the places. Get your $10 in Michelin money.
And so this is WERA. You're down. You're 20. You're racing, and you're just starting life. And you're like, I'm going to race motorcycles professionally. This is what I'm going to do.
Well, I thought, I didn't know. I liked the idea of it. I learned pretty early on I wasn't going to be the next Nicky Hayden. I had a lot of buddies that I raced with that were phenomenal, and they were so much faster than me, and that wasn't who I was. I really enjoyed it. I was, fast enough to have fun, but, I figured out pretty quickly, like, I'm not some sort of, like, racing phenom, but, good enough to enjoy it, to have fun, good enough that they let me race an expert, which was fun. Mm-hmm. But, no, Nicky Hayden wasn't worried I was going to come take his job.
Okay. So no outstanding accolades from your racing career.
Nothing amazing in motorcycles. I raced cars too. Got a few Southeastern championships.
Okay.
But still, car racing is a different kind of machine than motorcycle racing. Is the lap times of like your top level club guys might be the exact same lap times as guys running World Challenge or Grand Am or whatever, but they don't have $1 million a season to throw at racing. But now, obviously, the delta in lap time variances between a club guy and a top level pro is pretty different because if you have like a guy that's maybe a NASA champion in a former Grand Am car that maybe runs, say, a 130 around Road Atlanta. Yeah. In a 20-lap race, he might run 130 twice, but then he might run a 131, a 132, whereas like the guy who's running Grand Am runs 130s all 20 laps. And that's obviously a level of consistency that you don't see with most club guys.
Well, and that's just because of the price point. You're able to come in, team,
it's
parts,
everything.
Service. Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah, you got to have seat time. That costs a lot of money. Yeah. So you might have the raw skills to do it, but you don't have the finances to go anywhere in professional racing.
Yeah.
I mean, professional road racing is a weird. It's a weird business within itself. It's like one of the few sports where like the biggest barrier to entry is a financial barrier. You don't really see that with like boxing or basketball or soccer or whatever. Your talent is your big driver, whereas in car racing, at least, finances is such a huge component.
Yeah.
It's not an accident that the vast majority of guys in professional racing have millionaire or billionaire parents.
Yeah.
It's not there's no mystery there.
Well, so following along with that mystery, you're in Atlanta. You've raced bikes, then you raced cars, and you're still hanging out. What other pursuits like? And so for our folks joining us at home, like you're just meeting Mr. DeKay, Nicholas. I've known him now for a long time, and we've been talking for the last 2 hours as I set everything up because it all goes into a case and a box, and I travel with it, and so it's. We've had some fantastic conversations, so I'm just going to gloss over a little bit of background on this guy, just so you have some context before I ask him the questions that are burning deep in my substrate there. But you're in Atlanta at this point. You're mid-20s, and then what does your world look like?
So, initially, right out of college, I was in IT, network security specifically, and
That's what you went to school for?
No, I went to school for business, but
Okay.
I was in high school in the 90s, so I started working at Wang Laboratories when I was 16 as a systems analyst. And so IT paid my way through college. I self-funded my entire college I did night school and then worked full-time in IT to pay for it. And but by the time I graduated college, I realized that I absolutely loathed being in IT. So I really liked racing cars and racing motorcycles, and I also liked Muay Thai a lot and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Right.
And I was fighting amateur Muay Thai and competing in low-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the time. So I was like, oh, I should open a gym. So I ended up opening a gym called Unit 2 Fitness in Midtown, and I used that basically to fund a lifestyle where I was going to Thailand and training, and I fought over there and did that whole little adventure.
Right.
And then that somehow, some guy came into my gym, I think in 2008, and was like, hey, we want to film in your gym. And I was like, sweet, man, you got to put me in your movie.
Yeah, okay.
And
that was your go-to response. You saw a little interest in front of the camera action. You're like, okay.
I never really thought about it before then.
Yeah.
Hollywood's pretty...
Because at that point, Atlanta hadn't popped off.
Correct. There was no film incentive, to my knowledge. I think the film incentive started in 2009. Mm-hmm. So there really wasn't an incentive here. There was nothing going on film-wise. And, obviously, like everybody, I was like, oh, I could be a movie god one day. But, it was far removed. I'm far too pragmatic to be like, oh, I'm going to move out to L.A. And, my parents were going to give me, $500,000 to
chase your dream.
Chase my dreams, because that shit wasn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it never even occurred to me to do that. So when the guy was like, do it, I was just like, well, fuck it. If you want to use my gym, I want to be in your movie. And I didn't think anything was going to happen from that. And
indie project, low budget. You didn't know any different, and you were just
I
like,
didn't know. Yeah. It was an indie, low budget. The guy had done another movie called Motorhome Massacre.
I love that one. Yeah.
But I mean, you could buy it at Kmart, so it felt like a real movie. I think I can't remember who distributed it, like Lionsgate or somebody.
Sure.
But it was like a real movie, And it wasn't necessarily good, but it was real. Mm-hmm. Like you could go to Walmart and there it was on DVD. So as far as I was concerned, he was Hollywood as hell.
Yeah, sure.
So he put me in the movie as some sort of assassin. I ended up, I think my first on-camera stunt was a car hit, and I didn't even know you were supposed to wear pads for it. So I had no pads, and I just ate shit on the car. And then
back when cars were just full steel cages.
This was just a real car.
Yeah.
And they just hit me with it, and no pads, no nothing, just smacked onto the concrete. And I was like, okay. And then, I ended up falling down a set of concrete stairs, chasing Troy Farouk as another Atlanta stunt guy. Is
this a union job? This
is non-union.
Non-union,
Troy had just gone to stunt school, and I had done nothing. I didn't know anything about movie fighting. I did know about real fighting.
Right.
And so I had a scripted fight with Troy, and I thought you had to hit each other. So I thought to myself, okay, well, I can hide shin guards underneath my pants. So when I roundhouse kick Troy Farouk in the face,
absolutely,
it won't hurt him too bad. And we're doing the fight, and I'm really hitting Troy, but not hard. And you know, he kind of has an idea of how movie fights are supposed to look, and he's like, Nick, you need to learn to act. And I said, Troy, you need to learn how to hit. Because if you want me to look like I got hit, you got to actually hit me.
Yeah.
So I didn't know any better, and neither did he, because it was both of our first movies.
Yeah.
But then after doing it, I really enjoyed it. I thought, oh, this was really cool. And, you know, and then kept dabbling in it from there. And eventually the film incentive came. And
Right.
but when it came, I started like, being like harassing the people involved. Be like, put me in your movie. And it was a lot harder than the first one. But eventually I started making a living at it.
Well, so you at that time had your gym. You realized, okay, there's money to be made in this stunt stuff, and the tax incentives came to Atlanta, and then there was a conscious choice made that, like, you know what, I'm gonna try to be a stunt man. Was that like a conversation had in your head, or you and Tony were like, yo, dude, I think this is a thing. You can still run the gym, and we can just get paid to hit the ground. Like, what was that transition?
So the initial part of it was I didn't believe that it was ever going to be a full-time job. Mm-hmm. I thought, you know, occasionally movies would come to Atlanta because I didn't really understand how the tax incentive functioned and how the whole business of
You're just an IT guy that punches people in the face at this point.
Correct.
Right.
And so when the first movies kind of started trickling into Atlanta and the first TV shows started coming into Atlanta, you know, I'm like, this is cool. You know, I might work a day or two here and there, and it's sweet. Like, obviously the day rate's pretty good. It's certainly a lot more money than I was making in the gym. But I wasn't overly concerned with money. I mean, I gave up a very lucrative IT career.
Okay.
You know, I think adjusted for inflation, I've never made what I made before I quit
Okay.
IT.
Hindsight and such.
Yeah, all that. I should have stayed in. I got friends now that make so much damn money.
Good for them.
That stayed in, but whatever. I was less concerned about that. I was more just like, this is kind of fun. It doesn't really impact my ability to run the gym, and you know, if I can do this a few times, you know, every few months or something, that'd be sweet.
Right.
And then obviously the floodgates opened in Atlanta, and there was a ton of film work that came, and there was, you know, really small group of stunt guys that were pursuing the industry at that point. I mean, there's maybe like 10 or so of us that were, you know, under 40 stunt guys trying to do it in Atlanta. It was like Andy Rusk and Troy Farouk and Philip Dito, Elizabeth Davidovich, a few more, but
The OG crew.
yeah, it's a small group. I don't want to leave anybody out, like Jay Tyroff and Bobby Jordan and Eric Benson. All right, I could go through all the names, but anyway, there's
You mean something. You're in there somewhere.
you're in there. If I didn't mention you, I still love you.
Yeah.
But there wasn't many of us doing it, and so obviously it was pretty sweet. We started working probably more than we deserved to. You know, I started doubling, like I was on Walking Dead, doubling the Rick character and doubling the Merle character as a pretty greenhorn stunt guy, which is
Cool.
you know, pretty sweet. Be doubling the lead on like the #1 show on cable.
Yeah.
As kind
Carl!
yeah, all that.
Sure, that's my best.
You know, and you know, and I was kind of an idiot. Didn't really understand how the business worked at that point still, but I was, you know, right size, right place, I guess.
Yeah, so you're young, you're having fun, you're making
Yeah.
money, and you're like, this is incredible. And I mean, I can't speak for all those individuals that you mentioned, but you would have been at the more proficient side of some of the offerings of racing and moto and things like that. So, like, are you kind of like the go-to guy in town also for some of that stuff? When did that start coming into the film business?
So, I mean, it all helped because, you know, when guys were coming into town and they were trying to assess what people could do, most of us didn't have a lot of on-camera experience because we're homegrown Atlanta guys.
Right.
So the fact that I could be like, well, I don't have a reel of me driving cars on movie sets, but here's me, you know, winning some trophies.
Right.
You know, or I don't have a reel of me riding motorcycles on set, but here's me, you know, I put a tail cam on one of my bikes and like rode around Barber with it. And I was like, see, I can drag knee. Like, is that enough to get in your movie?
Yeah.
You know, that kind of a thing. And it was enough to get some ND spots and whatnot. I mean, still the more established guys from LA were getting the better parts for the most part.
Right.
But, you know, they let me work because they were like, well, this guy races. So like, we'll let him drive 20 miles an hour and
They felt
hold
bad for you.
hold a grid spot.
Yeah.
But that all led somewhere. Eventually, I started getting more of the hot seats and was able to do better and better stunts as I got better at the craft of being an on-camera performer.
Right.
The things that I thought I could do, say in like 2012, when the industry really started taking off here, based on what I could do as a race car driver or as a motorcycle racer or whatever. If I had been allowed to do the bigger stunts then, I would have probably hurt myself or somebody else because there's a mindset to doing it on camera that's completely different than doing it in a race. It's, it's very dangerous to be working anywhere past like 50, 60% of your skill set early in your stunt career.
Right.
Because the pressures of the movie set and the way that machine works is so different than what it's like racing a motorcycle or racing a car. It's a very, very different set of pressures.
Well, and this is a good offering because there's so many people we encounter day to day that are on the professional side of things, and they are quite pro and proficient at whatever they do, and they're like, yeah, I'm trying to break into stunts. You'd still say like you could be, XYZ pro, but there's a difference in doing things that like you can't just jump in and hit the hot seat.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could take a guy like TJ Tiffany. He's a good buddy of ours. And obviously he's bananas rad on a motorcycle. I mean, he's like backflips at the
Soon to be daddy.
Yeah. I mean, but like you take that guy on his first day on set. I don't know when he started doing movie stunts, but like.
Well, I could tell you.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll probably miss a couple marks, but I know he was of the crowd of LMA.
Okay.
And so he came from live stunt shows, and then the opportunities that presented, and as they still present, he gets around. And so then I think a lot of them went Fast and Furious, and then, all downhill from there.
Sure.
Too soon, Dom.
Yeah. But I think like if TJ had done say the best thing he could do is like a double backflip on a motorcycle off a 15-foot ramp and a 75-foot gap. And, but if you had asked him to do that his first day on camera with the pressures of a movie going on around him, that might not have been the best thing to have him do.
Yeah.
Even though maybe he can land that trick 100 times out of 100 in front of a crowd at Monster Jam. It's still better initially to just be like, hey man, just ride the bike in, slide a 90 up to the mark just to get used to the fact that, you've got all these like different people yelling at you. You've got background guys running around. You got all the stupidity of a movie set.
Well, and that's not even talking the equipment he could be on is like that somebody just pulled it out of a shed and they go, yeah, this is what you're going to do it on.
Sure.
Or any of the other things, yeah.
Yeah, all the stupidity of a movie set. Because, they basically, I think the entire movie situation is basically designed to make the stunt guy fail. Like they do everything in their power to make it as difficult as possible and give it the highest probability of failure.
Yeah.
And then it's your job as a stunt performer to still succeed.
Yeah.
But they're going to be like, okay, I need you to do this. And so we have this like 1953 Enfield Indian that we've left out in the rain for the last 6 months. But we changed the plugs on it 3 weeks ago and then also left it out in the rain again.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, we want you to take this and we want you to jump it. Sweet.
Yeah.
Notice that the forks are leaking.
My limited experience, in just some different driving bits, which weren't more than, whether it was a 90 or coming in hot. It was on a show, working with very talented people, and it was this like 1950s fucking Buick. And they said, that's your car, and you're going to run into set, the cop. And I get out and all the things, but we were going to run up, lock the brakes, skid to a stop, get out. And so this is fight night. Mm-hmm. So it's the whole cast for this scene. Everybody's getting busted out in whatever generic field number 9. And they're all lined up. And so it's, who's in that? It's Kevin Hart. It's, Shaft.
Shaquille
O'Neal is
no,
there.
No, he's not Shaft. That's I don't know what.
Who am I thinking of?
No, I know what you're talking about. Sam Jackson.
Sam Jackson. My name's Sam.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's guys like that and just a gang of them. And, when you're getting ready for one of these stunts, you're always assessing your option for out. What's our bail for the scenario? And it was the entire crew with all the camera equipment, every bit of gear, the whole cast, lead stars, etc., and then a gang of extras. And 1, 2, 3, and it was just like, assessing that. But they were like, all right, and this is what you're going to do. And 0 time to try out the car. Didn't even know how well it ran, brakes aside. And now we're on gravel road, but that was it. And the mark they gave me, I was like, this is a heavy freaking car.
Sure.
I didn't kill anybody.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, like I said, they set us up to fail, and it's our job to succeed, despite how they set us up to fail. And I understand. I actually do. I empathize with the line producers and the UPMs who are setting this all up because they're constrained to a budget. There's a lot of time constraints. The picture car guy's got 50 cars he's got to prep, and like your stupid car for this stupid stunt is, just one of the 50 things that he's got to do, and like, the movie is budgeted at some amount of money because that's how much the studio has decided that like this actor, this whatever is worth. And I get it. It is what it is. And it's our job to, make it work. And so it is what it is.
And
but
do just that.
But with that said, that means that like whatever it is you think you can do, at least early in your stunt career, you should be doing about half that.
Yeah.
Because if you're up near like 8/10 or 9/10 of your actual skill set, and then you're adding in the pressures and the dumb fuckery of movies, that's a recipe to hurt yourself or hurt somebody else.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that my ambitions wanted me to do all kinds of fancy shit, and 2008 to 2010, 11, 12, all that time period when I'm trying to figure out how to be a stuntman. I'm really glad that nobody let me do all the dumb shit that I wanted to do.
Well, and even in that window of just starting up, like, was it smooth sailing the whole way? Were there any like bumps along the road, and even just shortly after, like, hit me with some terror of the high seas?
I mean, I don't think I really.
Because you like in my experience with you, you're a very weighted and measured man. Like every decision gets a lot of analysis, and there's just just a touch of tism to you that like I feel like everything gets its due diligence. And so I would assume that that's how you've been forever. But I gotta imagine maybe there was a reckless period to your experience that I'm not recalling.
So no, I'm generally speaking not particularly reckless.
Yeah.
I've certainly had plenty of mistakes that I've made as a in my career as a stunt guy.
Yeah.
Some are really funny.
What's that like?
What do you mean?
Making mistakes. I can't.
You can't relate?
Can't relate.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard being as perfect as you. Or as handsome.
As you sat here for 2 hours while I fumbled with all of my equipment.
But I mean, some of them were like cute.
Yeah.
Like the Russell Towery. I remember when he called me to double somebody once. I was very excited, so I was calling my mom to let her know. And for whatever reason, Russell and my mother have very similar phone numbers. And so when I hit the number thinking I was calling my mom, and I left this like stupid gushing message on Russell's voicemail, and then I felt like an idiot, but he didn't fire me, so that was good.
Yeah.
So but then I made other dumb that was kind of a cute mistake. I made just like logistical errors, like not really understanding the politics, the other side.
Some more clerical errors, like more on the above the line relationship side of business, not the technical side.
Yeah, most of it was that. Most
Yeah.
of the mistakes that I've made, I say were just like not really like earlier in my career. I would say up to like 2015, 2016. I wasn't exactly sure how the other side of like what it was like being a stunt coordinator until Andy Martin let me assist him on a show. And then I started getting an idea of like, oh, this is how the other side of this works. And until I had that opportunity to assist a stunt coordinator, I didn't understand their side of the business. So I looked at it very like simply, like it's like, how many days am I working? What haircut do I need to get? How does that affect my ability to get days on other things? And so I kind of made this like, my assessment was very logical, but didn't really take into account relationships and things like
Politics.
that. It was like, in the politics of it, correct.
Yeah.
It was more just like, well, if you're offering me a week and I have to shave my head, and another guy's offering me 2 days, but I don't have to shave my head, but if I shave my head, I can't get this other job.
Right.
I started like playing this kind of stupid game, and I definitely burned myself that way. I mean, I burned myself with some guys that will probably never hire me again.
You're missing out.
Indeed. Well, I don't think. I mean, they're fine.
Yeah.
Without me, but it's a mistake that I made, and and like I've thought about it a lot since then. I definitely regret some of the choices that I made.
Yeah.
But I didn't really understand the other side of the business, what it's like to be a stunt coordinator, what it's like to try to hire people, and just how that whole machine functions. And it is a challenge. It's a different set of expectations from what they want versus what me as like a very analytical person, kind of what my mindset was with all
Well,
of
it's
it.
a totally another skill set you gotta adopt and then apply.
Yeah.
To work in the business. Yeah. One, this couch has been shared with several individuals where we've talked about, gags or bits that didn't work out and things that went wrong. But talking some about the burns that have occurred from those relationship side of things is an interesting thought. Because if you don't know, you don't know. You only see it from your side, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah. I mean, I realized some of them pretty shortly thereafter, but like, there's a lot of ego in our business, and kind
What?
of, I know. And if you kind of burn a guy, and most guys are not out there looking to forgive you.
Yeah.
Unless you have like a pretty deep relationship with them. And it's really easy to accidentally burn somebody in this business. I mean, you may not even mean to. You may not even know you're doing it, and then they think you burned them. So
and is that because of fragile egos, or is it because the risk is so high, the money can be so lucrative? Like, are these all factors?
I think it's all factors.
Yeah.
And the reality is there's 100 guys who want your job.
Right.
And and a lot of this business is zero sum. So it's like if I have, if I'm working like now, I stunt coordinate probably more than I perform now.
Mm-hmm.
But if I've got a producer that I coordinate for, and you hustle my producer, which guys do all the time.
Yeah.
And some of it I think is perfectly innocent. Like they don't, if you get Production Weekly every week, you just spam every email on it, and you're not sitting there going like, oh gosh, who has this producer ever worked
Right.
with? It's like, nobody has time for that shit. And so that kind of a hustle I don't really care about. Like, but I've had guys that have worked for me and have then hustled that producer, which I'm like, that's not cool. But it's zero sum. If that producer hires me to coordinate or second unit direct their movie, nobody else is getting that job. It's one job, it's one position. And, there's no sharing and caring in that side of it. So I understand why a lot of guys are very protective and are ready to think you're trying to burn them.
Right.
So, I mean, I do, when I do my Production Weekly, if I see a name on it, I usually search I search their email address in my Gmail just to make sure I don't have any call sheets from them
Right.
in the past.
And explain Production Weekly for our friends at home.
Production
And
Week,
for our free account when they see that we've been hawking their wares.
yes, it's like a newsletter that you get. It basically lists out all the movies that are filming globally,
Right.
And it has some contact email address on it, and it's actually never worked for me. I have emailed probably 4,000 or 5,000 like, hi, my name is Nick. I'm a stunt coordinator. You should hire me.
Yeah.
And in all of those emails, I've gotten exactly 0 jobs. But it's like, I don't know.
It's
what
another
else.
tool you can't.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what else to
Yeah.
do. So,
Well, and I mean that's just a tool, but describing some of these, zero sum and different operations, are there some sharks out there?
Oh,
Like guys known in the business that just like they're like, dude, be careful because that guy's coming for your job, your boss's job. Don't even have him on your set because he'll take crafty and your career.
oh, dude, there's 100%. I mean, there is no lack of guys currently working as stunt coordinators that got their first opportunity from stealing it from the guy that they were assisting. Not going to name any names, but I mean, there are guys that are currently coordinating big shows, and they basically were able to jump the line because they were buddies with a stunt coordinator, ended up assisting him, and then stabbed him in the back and took the show. There's no lack of that in our industry. It's
What a line to walk though, because like shitty, yeah, but is that just good business?
I've thought about that a lot. I mean,
Because then you got to quantify it when somebody's on the end of a line, and if you trust them.
sure. I mean, there's a guy in particular that, I always liked him, but he did that to another stunt coordinator who's a friend of mine, and but that guy's crushing it now.
Yeah.
He's in his career everywhere that I mean, he jumped the line big time. And so it's like, on one hand, it's like, okay, well, his bad behavior was rewarded. He's traveling all over the world, second unit directing and just crushing it.
Yeah.
But then on the other side of it, it's like, I don't know, man, how do you live with yourself after,
Apparently in first class.
apparently,
Yeah.
with first class tickets on Delta One.
There you go.
But I don't know. I don't know if I'd be able to live with myself if I did that to
Right.
somebody. So it's just, it's a weird thing because I see it in our business a lot. Just I think the nature of it, there's a famine nature to,
Feast and famine for sure.
yeah. But a famine mindset is what I mean. Like, a lot of people, even if they're really successful, have a famine mindset in our business.
Well, and that's just because of how it operates. You can't really ever shake that because the second the job ends, you're just like,
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah, you're unemployed the day
day that it's done.
it wraps and you're unemployed.
Yeah.
And a lot of people live pretty high on the hog. There's no lack of guys with big houses, big cars, a lot of spending habits, fancy watches,
Fancy watches.
all the stuff that goes along with it. I
Yeah.
mean, we've got a lot of friends that have a lot of fancy toys
Yeah.
that I'm sure are all financed.
That overhead
And-
is substantial. Well,
Yeah.
and we're in a curious time right now, which my entire time in the stunt business specifically has been one of these curious times of strikes and injuries, and then even to now with so much work overseas. Are you seeing shifting sands with a lot of these high hog guys, or what's the landscape look like right now? Because there's a bunch of stunt performers, but now there's a bunch of coordinators that are also performers. Like, what's the world look like?
I mean, if you are hired because you're local, so to speak, you're in big trouble right now. Atlanta does not have a lot of work. I don't know how many shows are currently going on, but not many. And certainly no tentpole shows. I think the last tentpole show was probably Stranger Things last year when it wrapped. That was a show that had a ton of man days.
Wouldn't know, Nick.
Sorry. Got to make friends with Hito.
I'm also not a ninja, so I can't really knock it.
Yeah. Hito's a great guy, by the way. So if you
I
ever-
hear great things. I just haven't met him
he's
yet. No.
Super, super talented guy.
Okay.
Really nice. But that was kind of the last big tentpole show in Atlanta. And then since then, it's been smaller shows that don't have a lot of man days, mostly double work, and then kind of, the occasional stunt acting job or ND spot, but not a lot. So if you're not traveling out of town to work, there's not a lot of work here right now. And guys are hustling however they can do it. Hopefully they saved a lot of money. Hopefully they don't have a big burn rate. But
Yeah.
if they don't have a lot of money in the bank and they have a pretty big burn rate, it's tough times for them.
Well, then, just forecasting for that, like, what do you see in our immediate future, and then just in the near future, where there's no less performers, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Is like, even traveling for work, there's guys everywhere. It's not like, so. What is the future look like? Tell me the future,
I think
according to Nick DeKay.
According to me. So I did coordinate and second unit direct a film over in Italy last year.
Boca de Beppo.
Indeed. And it was a great experience, great time.
Yeah.
But, and I had a lot of, I want to say I probably had 400 odd man days on that show for stunt guys. So it's not a huge show, but not a tiny show either.
For sure.
It's a real show, the real budget. And I had to hire all exclusively European guys. So everybody I hired was an EU citizen.
Yeah.
Italy's got a 40% tax credit that we're categorically excluded from. So if you hire American crew, they don't count towards your incentive.
Right.
The EU stunt performers make less than we do. There's no fringes on top of that. So they're about, before their tax incentive, they're about 2,000 euros a week cheaper than an American at scale.
Yeah.
They're, I gave them adjustments the same I would give an American performer, but I know A lot of the EU stunt coordinators do not adjust well, at least by our standards.
Right.
And then when you factor in their tax incentive, they make, there's a huge gap in what we cost versus what they cost. And they're just as talented. They're really good.
Yeah.
The guys I hired were very professional. I had a great core team. They hit the ground hard. They were really good at choreography. Like there was no aspect of them as performers that I thought was like, oh man, if we were in America, this would be so much better.
Right.
It's like, no, these were great guys. These are good attitudes, hard workers. They hustled, great performers. Like I have nothing negative to say about them. So we're not competing with them, at least from that standpoint. They're just as good as us.
Right.
But they're a lot cheaper because of just there's a lot of economic factors that go into that. Like one, in the EU, they're non-unionized. But because they have socialized healthcare, they don't really need the union protections that we have here because, my SAG health insurance is a big thing to me. Because if I was paying my own insurance every month that wasn't being subsidized by a union, it would be really expensive.
Yeah.
So I can really appreciate the fact that we've collectively bargained for that. But in Europe, that's not really necessary because their healthcare is socialized. So as a result, that's not a thing that matters to them.
Right.
And they still make good money. I mean, I think I was paying the guys 3,500 euros a week, before adjustments and whatnot. So it's about I think a stunt weekly now is 4,500 a week. Mm-hmm. But then after our fringes, it's 5,600 a week is what it actually costs production. So that's a pretty big gap. That's 2,000 a week, basically, difference in actual cost to production. And then factor in the 40% tax incentive. And man, talking a lot of money. So I don't see productions moving back from Europe anytime soon.
So I guess that was going to be my next question and curiosity, just because what are we doing? And I say we, it's nothing that we're doing. How do we compete? And when there's no incentivized reason to come back, it's not like we're making it easier to produce here and not making it more affordable to produce here. And any number of, whether it be a tariff or this, that, or the other, it's like it's business states. If it's cheaper somewhere else, they're going to go there.
Correct. I would say, you have the carrot and the stick approach, I guess, to film incentives. I know our president has talked about a tariff. I don't think a tariff is functional. I don't believe they can do it. I don't know how logistically you would institute a tariff on film production. It just the idea of that seems very silly to me. A federal tax incentive, like if there was a 10% federal tax incentive that's stacked on top of your Georgia tax incentive. So like Georgia's 30% if you put the little peach logo on your movie, and it's distributed. And then if you add that and you had like a 10 or 15% federal tax incentive, that would certainly do a lot that would make the math of shooting here versus shooting abroad
worth the conversation.
Yeah, it'd be much more of a conversation. I mean, we're still a lot more expensive. I think you can get a van and a driver for about 1,000 euros a week in Italy. And I think that's about what you'd pay per day in Atlanta or in Los Angeles. So it's still we're just paid better in general. And, good on us if we can get it. But it's be really hard to compete when you're talking about better tax incentives and lower wages because it's a lower cost of living over there.
Yeah.
You can get a sweet apartment in Rome for like 1,300 euros a month.
I love Rome.
And it's awesome. I mean, you can get a pizza for 8 euros.
You get a Vespa scooter and just rip.
Yeah, I mean, it's way cheaper to eat over there.
Yeah.
Everything was cheaper except for gasoline, I guess. But I didn't drive much when I was over there.
Petro.
Yes, petrol.
Yeah.
Yes. But
so then, as it stands now, whether they come back from that, even if they were to come back, the future of filmmaking, which has had several iterations along the way from the talkies all the way to today, we're moving into, we talk about YouTube, and now even these verticals.
Sure.
You know, I wish we all could make films of our yesteryear, and that's what we did forever. But you know, there's kids, they grow and they like what they like, and so we're moving to these devices more and more.
Yep.
And where we hear about these verticals, you know, I've had some interesting conversations recently where talking about a future of that, and real shorts films here.
Yep.
Normal, I think, is another one, but like, how apprised to any of these conversations are you, or what are you thinking?
So my brother was actually the lead actor in one for, I don't know if it was Drama Box or Real Shorts. It was one of them, and it was like My Billionaire Playboy Replacement Husband or something, some kind of preposterous name.
He got cast over you?
He is a taller, younger, better looking version of me.
Doubtful.
No, I assure you.
Okay.
I assure you.
Take
He's
your
been
word
my
for it.
brother for a long time.
Okay.
I know exactly how much better looking he is than I am. But anyway, he did it. So I went and, and I went onto the set because I was very curious about this. This was a couple years ago that he did it. And it was like right at the beginning of Verticals coming to the United States. And, all the kids that were producing it were Chinese kids. I think the girl who was directing it, I want to say her dad was.
But like kids.
Oh, no, yeah, these were kids. These
Yeah.
were like fresh out of film school, like 22, 23-year-olds.
It's the right price.
I talked to the woman who was producing it. I think she was 23, and she said she had graduated film school 10 months prior to when we were doing it, and she had 8 feature films already done.
You don't remember the production company?
No, I can't remember.
Okay.
I don't. It was either Drama Box or Real Shorts.
Okay.
It was one of the two. But I remember, I really picked their brains about it. I was like, because this is bananas.
Mm-hmm.
The rates they were paying were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They said they were kind of all in. The way they shot this one was 6 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, wrapped. They were shooting 10 pages a day. And, they were decorating their sets in basically with fake walls almost, bringing in like two sheets of drywall, making a wall, and like, that's our set.
Ready.
Because, she said that the actors and the costumes are their set deck. And so they're really careful about having beautiful actors for their leads. And they were using a lot of like glimmer, those like glimmer filters and stuff like that on their camera. And, but they were paying terrible rates. They said it was $100,000 all in per feature.
Mm-hmm.
But then I guess they had said that one of their features made $42 million.
Quick.
Which I was like, oh my. The business model of it, you need probably about $10 million to play in that game if you want to do it. Because I think one of the girls, like her dad was one of the people that like invested in the original company in China. And so, and I speak enough Chinese to kind of understand a little bit of what they were talking about. I'm not good enough to be in the next Jackie Chan movie as a lead, but good enough to catch enough words to where I was kind of understanding what they were chatting about, because they kept all their good conversations in their native tongue. Yeah. But just in listening to them, I started seeing like how this machine worked, and it's lucrative. They know what they're doing. They know what they're making. They know they're making content.
A race to the bottom?
Oh, it's definitely a race to the bottom. They're based off these like internet novels.
Well, it's like those like novellas, like the Korean soap operas.
Yeah,
I remember being in LA, those were just getting gobbled up, but they're just like these small,
Yeah, these were all like 1 minute to 90-second things. They monetize them after you've watched the first 20 episodes. They're kind of like the old like wuxia, which are like the Chinese like kung fu soap operas. Yeah. With the they kind of have terrible like Telemundo style acting. Yeah, very much. I can do a whole impression of it in Chinese. That
Let's go.
You really want me to do it?
Yeah, I do. I think everybody wants you to do it.
All right. So,
who am I in this? Am I in this?
Yeah, you're going to be the beautiful woman.
Okay.
Like, 小花，我没有看，你在哪里？我爱你，可是我不看。All right, that's about as far as I want to go.
I am moved. I didn't know if I was falling in love, if I was disappointed, betrayed. I really took a ride with you.
I just said I can't see you. I have no sight.
Well, I had subtitles for sure.
Yeah, those are terrible. And like I said, my Chinese is not great.
10 out of 10.
Not good.
You don't want to hear mine.
No, it's my daughter. She speaks fluent Chinese, and she doesn't like it if I speak Chinese around her.
Dad!
She says I sound like garbage.
Oh.
She also recently told me that my wheelies suck. So she is
Now we actually have something to fight about.
she is a ruthless little 7-year-old. She's like, Daddy, you can wheelie, but they're not very good.
You're not going 12 o'clock, Nick.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. My wheelies do suck. They're very much power wheelies. I can admit it.
Oh, I got no room to talk. That little piranha over there, I can take him to midnight and then back to 11, back to 10, and then I'm taking a nap. And right now I'm having a gnarly leg cramp that I'm trying to move out of my calf.
Massaging yourself.
I know.
But no, my wheelies do suck. They're all
watching
power wheelies. They're all power wheelies. I cannot maintain a speed. I'm chasing revs.
Well, hanging out with TJ as long as I have, I'm clearly aware when I've shot, Sea Bear and all like Cole Freeman and even who did I shoot for? Josh Heron, all these guys.
Yeah.
Oh my freaking
Josh
calf.
is pretty rad.
Holy crap.
Super fast.
Well, either way, with verticals, I've had some recent conversations. I'm gonna stand. How about that?
Do
That's
it.
cool.
Do it. I'll watch you stand.
You're just gonna lose it.
Great legs too.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you're like fancy tattoos.
Yeah, you like that? They're all press-ons. I'm just trying them out. It's
Sweet. I like that you've sleeved your left leg instead of sleeving your arm.
It wasn't a conscious decision. Oh my goodness. All right, we may have to take a break.
All right. Good luck.
Do you need a potty?
No, I'm good.
Okay, hold on. What if I'm gonna walk over here? Well, anyway, so with verticals and what's happening with that, I've been apprised of some recent conversations specific to Real Shorts. I know Bobby's been playing, Bobby Cerise over there. They get into those, and then a lot of our random, stunt guys find days on those.
Yeah, I mean the issue is they're not union. So we're in.
And we don't think they'll ever go union, right? Or
I doubt it. No,
there's no reason to.
Well, one, they have limited reason to do it. I would say in general, the guys who are financially responsible for that stuff are disinclined to.
They said it ain't broke, don't fix it.
So it is, it becomes questionable. I don't know exactly how our union approaches verticals, and I don't know.
Well, so who's our new guy? We got Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah,
He's our
Sean
new president.
Astin, yeah.
Sean Astin. Well, so he would be the one that has to have a proactive conversation about verticals so they can step in front of the train.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I don't even know if technically if guys working on them are violating Global Rule 1 or not. I've never been asked to put my ugly face on their
not yet
on the thing. I'm not pretty enough for verticals, I guess. So it hasn't come up. But yeah, I don't even know if it's if you're violating it, because it's like, it's like, are you violating Global Rule 1 by being on a TikTok movie? TikTok show. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and even now we're on my YouTube show. Nobody watches, so I don't think we're in any trouble. But at the same time, that would be reasonable a conversation at some point. No.
Yeah, at some point, someone's gonna have to figure that out, and and then if it does unionize, it's like the rates are terrible,
right?
To work on those, and like I know some of them are doing like old studio style stuff, like handing out like annual contracts to actors.
I've heard that.
Where you do like 6 verts in a year, but you can't work on anything else, which is, I believe, part of why we unionized to begin with. Was like, back in the 50s, they were doing that to actors. They'd put you on like a contract with Studio A, and then whether they worked you or not, like you're on contract with them and you can't do anything else. And I think part of us unionizing was to get rid of that practice. So I have no idea where that's all going to lead. They said, I think YouTube on television, not including cell phone, but YouTube on television is 17% of all things watched on TV now. So, which makes it the largest of all the streamers.
When you say that, and I don't disagree with it, just from seeing how people consume social media and different things like that. But like for myself, even though I'm putting stuff out, I'm not a YouTube subscriber, right?
Sure. No, I'm not talking about like paid YouTube. I mean, people just actually like sitting on their couch, turning on their television, and like clicking the YouTube
TV
button.
Yeah.
Because like my daughter would much rather watch like Outdoor Boys on YouTube than she would watch, say, The Goonies.
Yeah.
you know, if I try to get her to watch normal television, most of the time she either wants to watch like Lao Bi Xiaoxing, which is like a Chinese TV show she really likes, or she wants to watch YouTube. You know, it's one of the two. But getting her to watch like Netflix or Disney, it's like complete non-starter with her. She's like, absolutely not. She hates all Disney shows, hates Disney princesses, thinks they're all stupid.
It's like I'm trying to do a crystal ball scenario to figure out what the future looks like this way, that way, the other way. But it's like my brain having grown up in our current, system. It's just like it's not wired for what is being, what's coming next.
I don't. It's hard to say. I mean, obviously, like generative AI is coming, and it's going to be amazing. And I don't mean amazing like in the sense of like.
No, I got you.
Yeah, it's going to look good.
It's a force.
It's going to be better looking than what we can do in the real world. And eventually they will be able to replicate actor performances that will be better than what people can do. I mean, they had that, they've done some AI songs now that like are as soulful as real songs. And it's like, it doesn't just sound like, it's not dead sounding anymore. It sounds like, we would think there's like, oh, there's a spark of the divine that created that soulful song. And then you hear AI do it and you're like, fuck.
It's a pattern. It's a formula. It's to be replicated.
It really, it ruins some of the magic for you.
I was talking to somebody, and this is just only a mild divergence. And I went to a concert over at the Eastern. You been to that venue? They did a great job.
Yeah, I have actually. Yeah, that place is pretty sweet.
Yeah, right in Midtown. Not in Midtown, excuse me, Reynoldstown.
Yep.
And so we saw a band called Our Last Night. It was just the group chat. Dan is like, hey, you want to go Our Last Night? TJ's in town. We'll go Monster Jam. We'll go Our Last Night. And in my head, I'm thinking Our Last Night is like some pop punk band from, 2006. Sure. And so I was like, and TJ's in town and Ashley and everybody. I'm like, yeah, we'll go. I get tickets. Get them. And then I pull up Spotify and I'm just like, who the fuck is Our Last Night? So I'm like trying to catch up. Anyway, fast forward. Our Last Night is just a cover band. Like they are a band. They've been in business and they've been touring for 20 years, but they've made their claim on covers. And so to go to the live performance, very talented performers, but to watch the show, I was just so, not moved because this is literally just expensive karaoke. Where they're just getting up singing someone else's songs they had no business writing, so there's no feeling in it. And then the conversations in between songs is just this like random talking about. I think they were talking about like the football from that day and the TVs they were watching. And I was like, what is going on? It just felt like expensive karaoke. But then on the way home, I'm like, or a couple of days later, Meg was like, Bieber had a new album out. And Part 2 or whatever it is. And she's like, I want to listen to it. And I was like, oh, let's listen to it. And so it's pretty R&B. But then at the same time, I was like, well, what's the difference when these folks, they're not even writing their own songs. These are just performers. And so it reminded me of my time when I worked at the Forum. Are you familiar with the Forum? Forum in Los Angeles. Yep. And I did their video for several years. And I could tell the difference between an artist and a performer.
Sure.
And it was the artist that was like, you could tell they cried into their album. They wrote those are their feelings, emotions, and they're playing it and sharing it with you. And you're like, this is a visceral experience. This is wild. This is more than just, hitting the right cue and note and just hitting my BPM. I'm like, that's heart. Versus, I saw Drake. I shot him for like 6 days back to back to back. And every night, during this song, he would have he was performing. He was, I see you, Degrassi, and he was a script.
Sure.
And just the difference of that. And it was just an interesting dynamic to really consider on the whole, all of that. And so when we were talking AI and all this, it is sorry.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, I get it.
My cramp has gone away, so
Good.
I'm stationary-ish.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, AI is a weird one. I use AI in my workflow.
Yeah, it's a great tool. It's not to be,
Yeah, I mean, there are things I like about it. There are things I don't like about it. It's certainly going to be interesting in how it functions for post-production workflow. If it opens the door for filmmakers to be able to do like a cool sci-fi epic that they might not have been able to do before, it's like, that's pretty sweet. You know, if it just becomes like I go to my television and I'm like, I want to see Darth Vader fighting Superman and I want a movie with me in it. And then it just auto generates some kind of script and does
Dribble.
it, and then James Earl Jones, I guess, licensed his voice for in perpetuity for Darth Vader. So I guess no young actor can ever get that opportunity now. So sweet. But, and then we can hear, the disembodied voice of James Earl Jones playing Darth Vader in my fantasy scripted thing.
Right.
And it's like, if that's what it becomes, I mean, that's kind of sad. But I guess it's also like the holodeck on Star Trek, because that's kind of what they did.
Yep.
And then I guess at that point, then we all just like have our friends do live performances for us.
Well, and I've always, as you even heard, when I talk to my Alexa device, I've renamed it Computer because of my I enjoy Star Trek, and I've always used it as like, Star Wars is a little more whimsical, whereas Star Trek is based in science, and so that's always there's a lot. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, not the J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
No.
Yes,
No.
the real Star Trek.
I'm talking. Hey, I'm over here TNG.
Yeah.
I don't even TOS, and then I'll even get down with Janeway sometimes. But
I like Deep Space Nine.
DS9. So I try to get Meg to watch it. She can't handle it because it's too dark.
I like
Too
DS9.
brooding.
I liked it. I liked everything about DS9
Let's
actually.
alienate my entire audience right now.
I don't screw your audience.
Hey.
Whatever. Star Trek's
I
rad.
already told you it's just my mom.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I am a huge Star Trek fan. So,
But I say that because with what they did in that world is they're always just trying to understand the future, and when they write scripts and everything like that, your tricorders and all these things and everything that eventually turns into a realm of reality.
Sure.
And so they've been pretty spot on. It's like The Simpsons in some degree with how they future forecast or whatever. But it's like even with this show and all the things I do, I just do think there's an inevitability that like it is all coming back to just real one-to-one connection. They want that authentic exchange. So much of it can be manufactured that it just loses all of its just like nuance, and it's just like whatever. And so it'll be, yeah.
I think that might partially be why people like real shorts, because if you've worked on say I did like 3 of the 4 Hunger Game movies I worked on. And so like Catching Fire, I think was 75 days, right? I think it was 75 days on first unit. I don't know how many days on second unit. Let's call it 50 second unit days and 75 first unit days. So let's call that. So what is that? 125 overall shoot days. Average day length is probably somewhere between 12 and 16 hours. And if that movie is 120 minutes, that means basically each minute becomes 12 to 14 hours of shooting to get a minute. If you kind of break it down that way. And it's like, well, if I've got 12 hours to get you to walk in with the perfect glint in your eye and deliver some speech, and you get 200 at-bats to do this, so to speak, to say this speech, eventually I could cobble together a really good scene of you doing it, no matter how garbage you are. And not to say that anybody on that movie was garbage, because actually they're fabulously talented actors and great filmmakers on those movies. I'm using this more of like as an example.
I got you.
Because Jennifer Lawrence is obviously very talented, no question there. Like we all figured that out immediately upon watching her first performance. But nevertheless, you don't feel like it's as authentic as say a real shorts where like they're doing like 1 or 2 takes per setup. I mean, they're shooting, 10, 15 pages a day on like a 10-hour day. I mean, so these guys, it's like you're getting 1 or 2 takes.
One and done. Yeah.
It's kind of like, being on a Tyler Perry movie show, when he shoots a feature film in 9 days, these guys are getting 1 or 2 takes. So you're getting the real them. You're getting that real actor. So there is an authenticity to that that maybe comes through because it's not as polished.
Is this something you've already thought about, or is this what you're thinking now?
It's something I'm thinking about right now.
Okay.
This is us talking.
This is
us in
great.
the moment. But perhaps that's why people like it, because it's not as polished, because it's not like we're getting the absolute most polished, most distilled version of a performance if I'm shooting a page a day or I'm shooting 3/8 of a page a day or whatever it is I'm shooting on these like preposterously long shoot
Well, would you
schedules.
say it's some type of median of reality TV and Hunger Games?
Yeah, I think maybe that's what.
There's like a corollary there of like, well, you know,
Yeah, it's something where it's like maybe it just feels more authentic to people.
interesting.
You know, because we're not perfect. We're not, or, you know, we don't always come out with the best glint in our eye. We don't always say the best thing. We stumble over our words, and we have ums and ahs, and we do all sorts of
Well,
dumb things.
how does it then? Does it ever then land that you're like you go back to watch episode 722 of that one vert that you remember, or is it just like just a wash of just content that just is meant for you to be consumed on the toilet?
I think it's the latter. I think it's chewing gum for the mind.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that's chewing gum for the mind. I mean, I've been watching Yellowstone, and my friend Andy Rusk said that Taylor Sheridan is Tyler Perry for white people,
Heyo.
which I think is fantastic. And I really like Yellowstone, but it is, you know, I'll never watch it again. It's a lot of like great vistas of like cowboys doing cowboy stuff, and
I can't say that I watched it, so I have nothing
it's-
positive or negative to speak. I just heard it was Sons of Anarchy, but with horses.
I didn't watch Sons of Anarchy, but it's chewing gum for the mind, though.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
going to watch it again. I can, you know, usually by the end of the pilot episode, I will predict the entire season,
Yeah.
and so far I've been right. It's, you know, it's kind of paint by numbers.
Yeah.
As far as the drama and whatnot and what happens. But I like it. It's very enjoyable. It's something you can watch folding laundry, so to speak. It's well shot for the most part. And I get to watch cowboys doing cowboy stuff, and that's fun. I like
Cowboy
vistas.
doing
And,
cowboy shit.
you know, you put a man on a horse, give him a cowboy hat, and you're 80% of the way there. And make
Yeah,
something
hit
cool.
me up, Andy. I'm available.
Yeah. But it's, you know, and I'm sitting here watching it, and, you know, I've been binging it for the past,
Yeah.
you know, month or so, however long I've been catching up with the series. I'm on season 5 now. So it's,
Well, even as you speak,
But-
my mind has gone so many different tangents of direction for conversation because my curiosity now leans to the idea of where we're at as a society and the material that we're consuming. If it's because we're so burnt out and stressed that we don't want that real heavy shit, that we just give me something to chew on because the real world is too much right now, or
maybe.
are we just too fucking lazy and we've just been like swiping our brains away
I don't know.
one
It's-
cat video at a time?
It's hard to say. I mean, I'm not overly social media'd. I do like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I
You're in
like,
group chats with Dan. That boy keeps us well apprised of all updates on social
yeah,
media.
no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Dan.
His data plan must be.
Yeah, you know, Dan's great. We actually we've done some bets where we've called Dan at like 2 a.m. and see if he would answer from like night shoots, or we've texted him and saw how long it would take for him to respond at like 4 a.m. on a night shoot. And that guy is the most Johnny on the spot, like response
That's
quickly.
why he works. He stays.
Oh.
He's in everybody's DMs. He's good.
Dude, yeah, Dan's great.
That's great.
I mean, he's talented.
Super
he's
talented.
Fun to be around.
Handsome.
He's dead sexy.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I like Dan. But yeah, I don't know what the reasoning behind the, you know, the kind of the why filmmaking is what it is now. But I guess, you know, there's something nice. I mean, when I watch Yellowstone, which, you know, I've enjoyed thoroughly. Like, I can appreciate it for what it is. I mean, I would say in any given episode, if an episode's 45 minutes, I mean, it's 10 minutes of just B-roll.
Yeah.
Just guys riding their horses and doing stuff, and, you know, girls barrel racing and guys doing rodeo stuff. And I like it. I'm stoked. I'm like, all right, this is cool. But I recognize it for what it is.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's relaxing, something to watch before I go to bed. So maybe that's what we all want, because the rest of it's all like, you know, are we going to go to World War III? You know?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of media, depending on what you consume, is what you lack and desire in life.
Yeah.
If you want the drama, it's because you're in some formulaic experience where you're not expressing your feelings and emotions. If you want to be the military man. It's because you're, punching a clock at some accounting job or something like that. Like you whatever, you find your variation of it.
I think there's that. I think another thing, when I think about what I like about that show, like Kevin Costner is completely honest. He never lies in the show. It's actually one of my favorite things about the show. He'll do something terrible and ruthless, and then when somebody asks him about it, he's like, "Yep." And like he's got a very clear moral code that he doesn't ever break. It never seems to waver throughout the show, and because like nobody you meet in life is that way. Everybody is morally flexible, and everybody's lying at all times. And so you have this guy that's completely morally inflexible and like completely honest, no matter what he's being.
Is that
honest
what you
about.
think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we all have like a little bit of a. Yeah, there is a big gap between private person and real person in real life. Like, just if you look at like your group chat, like what you would be willing to say in the group chat is not what you'd be willing to say in the podcast for the most part, for most people. Like the memes you might share on a group chat on Instagram are not the memes that you would want playing below you in a public appearance.
Well, to speak for myself, which is the only person I can speak for.
Sure.
I look at the world in such a way that I like to see everybody at their best at all times.
Definitely.
Everybody's a piece of shit at some point, but more often than not, I want to just, in that moment when I'm with you, imagine you to be the best of whoever you could be.
Sure.
And that's what I get out of people just because I give them that offering, whether they intend to do it or not.
Yeah. I don't mean to say people are bad. That's not what I mean.
I guess, so as you state, like, so in the same, I don't think people are liars. I don't think people are cheaters. I know they are, but like even, what am I trying to say?
So
would you say you're optimistic, pessimistic? Are you glass half full, half empty? Like, what are you pragmatic? I know, but like, what does the world look bleak and black, or is it bright and shining? Like, what's Nicholas DeKay's?
Neither, honestly.
Neither.
It's the glass isn't half empty or half full. It just has a certain amount of fluid ounces.
It's a
of liquid
cylinder. Yeah.
Well, no, it's like how many fluid ounces of liquid are in it. It's like if you have a glass that could hold 8 ounces, but there's 4 ounces in it, then it's a glass with 4 ounces in it. It's neither half empty nor half full.
That's the most Nick answer ever.
Yeah, it's a glass with 4 ounces of liquid in it. And I see that with people. Like I don't think people are liars in the sense that they're trying to be malicious and trying to get something over on you. I don't see it like that. I don't see people as the heroes of their story or the villains. I think people are people, and they're just trying to navigate through this very complex existence that we have. Life is hard. It's filled with tragedy, but it's also filled with triumph. It's filled with great things too. It's a mixed bag. But everyone's going to die. Everyone's going to have loved ones that die. Everyone's going to witness great things that happened. They're going to have nieces or nephews or children and all these really amazing, great things. But at the same time, you're going to have tragedy, and everyone's navigating that. So, when I talk about a character like Kevin Costner's character in that, he's unrealistic in the sense that like he's so honest and he's so convicted in his morality that he's always doing this very consistent thing. And life isn't really simple enough for people to do that. Because like, most people can't weather the storm of a controversial opinion. So like, everyone's obviously there's been this big kerfuffle about some of the political assassinations that have happened in recent memory.
Say what?
Yes. And we've seen that kerfuffle in our own industry where, people on one side had, some rather kind of distressing things to say about it. And then other people are like, oh, we should blacklist those people. And so I'm not going to really opine on my opinion on it, but basically what they're saying is if this person is honest about this thing that they feel about, we should make it hard for them to earn a living anymore. And whether or not you agree or disagree with that particular instance or that particular thing, it is basically teaching people like, hey, you need to moderate your behavior and moderate your thought processes in such a way that allow you to be a hireable entity or allow you to function in society. And so, like, obviously this Kevin Costner character in Yellowstone does not do that. Like, he doesn't. He's just like, I'm going to do what I think is right to keep my
Does he have like that fuck you money, or is he just a man of like? I haven't seen the show, so I don't know.
So he theoretically, like, I mean, I think someone offers him like $500 million for his property at one point in the show, and he's like, fuck you. You know, they don't really tell you how much money he has. He's clearly wealthy.
Yeah.
I mean, the property taxes alone on his ranch would probably be more money in a year than you might earn in your life. He's clearly wealthy,
Triggered.
but he's also not Elon Musk.
Right.
You know, he's some sort of wealthy land baron, but he seems to still have to make some sort of reasonable decisions in order to stay
Maintain.
afloat.
Yeah.
He's not just like, you know, I've got $5 billion sitting around so I can just tell everyone to fuck off and do whatever. He's not buying Twitter.
Right. It's X.
Whatever. It's Twitter to me. But that his behavior is something that like really not many people can do. And
Is he a character that people like? They want to emulate that, or is he not a people like
definitely.
that character?
Yeah, he's a hero, but I mean he's definitely he's not necessarily morally good. Like he murders people throughout the show. And
Is that type of thing presented as subjective to his experience, where it's like, well, that guy
Sure.
needed to die?
maybe. I mean, you basically know that if no one bothered him, he wouldn't kill anyone.
Okay.
If everyone just left him alone,
Yeah.
he wouldn't kill anybody.
Sure.
But if you bother him, he's not afraid to kill you.
Right.
And they definitely do a lot of morally questionable things throughout the show. He is objectively not a nice man. But we empathize with him. Like, he's got his ranch. He just wants to keep it. Like, that's all he wants. And he's kind of willing to do anything to keep it. And it makes him he's a fascinating character study. And like I said, I enjoy the show. I think everyone should watch it.
Okay.
But I also don't think at the same time, it's not like some kind of like overly intellectual, like, you know.
It certainly prompted a nice conversation for
Yeah.
us.
But I like I said, I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are aspects of that filmmaking that I think are kind of, I've seen some low effort filmmaking in it, and I've definitely seen some low effort kind of drama throughout the story arc. I think the first season where Taylor Sheridan was writing and directing pretty much every episode was definitely stronger than some of the later stuff where he was off doing whatever it is he's doing.
Okay.
But it's definitely, it's a funny show.
Well, so as you presented the statement of this morally ambiguous man that just doesn't lie, and that you just assume everybody to be a liar, it just kind of pinged my brain. Whether you not that you think ill of anyone, but I, whether it be unintentionally or intentionally so, really desire to live authentically to myself and try to live without lying,
Sure.
and that's to be honest and in all the ways. But as you continued into the conversation, presenting a current, situation as it is, I can fully acknowledge my trepidation in saying, "Fuck all."
Yeah.
About and because things are so polarized and topics are hot, and to be so self-righteous or think, like that I'm the morally high ground individual that can just be honest is to shoot my, whatever self in the foot and say, oh, I'll just never work again or whatever. It's just an interesting question that I'm posing myself.
Yeah. I mean,
You talk about the group chat.
Yeah.
I challenge you to run that back and find me throwing a flag anywhere that I wouldn't be happy to advertise, but
sure. I mean, I definitely will put up some spicy memes.
oh, you're for it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, I think they're funny, but I don't necessarily agree with them.
Right.
But I have a
Humor
weird,
serves a fantastic place in our culture, and it needs to be thusly.
yeah. And I also part of my thought process in life is I can take any argument and I will steel man it.
Yeah.
So like I like steel manning arguments, even if I completely disagree with
Right.
it. You know, I can steel man any political position and give you the reasoning, or at least what I think is the reasoning behind why Group A thinks X. And I don't appreciate straw manning other people's arguments. I think if you can't steel man an argument that you disagree with, then you don't understand why they
100%.
disagree with you. But I have to be careful about posting those things or saying those things. It's like, I don't agree with this necessarily. However, this is their argument. But I wouldn't feel comfortable posting that publicly because, you know, people are going to take the least charitable view of me steel manning an argument, even if I don't agree with it. They're going to be like, see?
Yeah. Well, and it's such a fantastic exercise to do that, to really understand and put yourself in another man's shoes and have a different perspective. No, I think that's great. I got another buddy that I've had on my show, and I've always enjoyed him because he's similar in that he's a conspiracy theorist through and through, and he wouldn't say that he is that, but he'll disagree with you just to disagree with you until he makes you mad.
Oh, he's a contrarian.
And I like him. Yeah, he's a hard contrarian in that, like, you know, he's picked some platforms that, well, I guess he's on my show. So Jonathan Mariandy went to Antarctica to prove that the Earth is flat. And so he is of the caliber that he has gotten himself a plane ticket with the entire film crew. He's the one that shot the doc about the experience.
Oh,
and so they
God.
took a bunch of these flat earthers to, what is this, the South Pole or wherever they went. Wouldn't you know it?
Yeah. Turns out the Earth isn't flat.
But at the same time, I've always enjoyed him just because of he went to he was Occupy Wall Street, and went to jail and told the judge, the judge says, you've been found this, that, and the other. He goes, you claim that I've been, to the point that the judge was so annoyed with me, just threw him out and,
good for him.
But he's that kind of guy. And I just enjoy when people can take positions fully counter to their own personal belief just for the sake of poking that fucking bear. I love it.
Yeah. I liked Occupy Wall Street. In general, I just like the movement. I liked, I've always believed the only real warfare is class warfare.
That'll be a different episode. We've been talking for an hour, 17, 25, 26, and I am thoroughly enjoying the conversation, which is to say, I think we should continue it.
Okay.
And I don't
have anywhere to go. Yeah,
well, you're going to Barber, and we'll pick your date. You can tell me when you're available. I'll be at Barber, guys, and I'm releasing this episode today. Today is Wednesday, September 17th, 2003, and if I don't have this out in the next hour and a half to lead up to Barber, to have him back on to continue this conversation, that is the intent of today. And I want to share that there's a lot of moving parts with my show, my life, my career, and I'm eager to do it better in some capacity, aren't we all? And so hopefully if you've been following along thus far, you're enjoying it in some modicum of enjoyment. I hope you're enjoying some of it. But
listen to me prattle on about stuff.
That's what we're here for. But until then, this is the time of the show that I will give you to your camera, which I do believe to be our Fuji X-T4 over there. Anything you want to bring attention to, you're excited about, a link to your Instagram website or whatever, or ask millionaires for money for your next feature, this is your time to shine.
Okay, well, I definitely need a lot of money for my various feature films that I've written. I have one. It's called Eat the Rich Day. Oh, yeah, it's spicy. The premise of the show is I have a website, eattherichday.com. You can look at it. And the website is what happens in the movie. The premise is a dark web site comes up where the top 1,000 wealthiest billionaires in America are on it. And you can donate $1 in Bitcoin to upvote them. And on Eat the Rich Day, the top 50, that becomes the bounty for murdering them. And you got to put your snuff video on the internets.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, and we're trying to raise money for it.
Whose money you're not going to get millionaire's money for that.
I know. We've been trying to raise money for it for a while. Because it turns out rich people don't want to invest in movies about killing rich people. Oh, man. But yeah, the movie follows a healthcare CEO who's gotten a group of private military contractor types to to protect him from the hordes of would-be bounty seekers. And it's a single location film, and it's pretty fun. We got a variety of actors who are interested in being in it. I just don't have any millionaires that want to give me money to do it. So I may end up doing it as a micro budget film and shooting it myself, unless I can convince somebody to give me like somewhere between $1 and $3 million so I can do it.
Big ask.
No, it's not. But
Sounds like if you're not in the movie business, it sounds like a lot of money, but that goes quick.
No, it's like a rounding error on a week of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
But it turns out if you're making a movie about if you're making a movie about rich people killing poor people, they're all about it. But if you're making a movie about poor people killing rich people, not so much.
You're going for Black Mirror Purge.
Black Mirror Purge, yeah. And I loved both of those. So yeah. And then I've got another one about that's even more expensive to make, but that one's going to be an even tougher one.
Well, we'll save that one for Barber.
Yeah. But yeah, if you want to donate to my movie, you can go to eattherichday.com and you can donate Bitcoin and vote on your favorite billionaire avatar. There's no likeness to any real billionaires.
No, you're not going to end up on a list.
It's all fake. It's all fake.
Yeah, lead with that.
But yeah. But it's
you got to set it in another country, or else you'll never freaking get it made.
Yeah, I'll shoot it anywhere in the world. I don't care.
Yeah.
I need money to do it, or I'm going to end up calling my friends and being like, "Hey Sam, do you want to make no money and be in my stupid movie?"
Yeah.
But and I may end up Rebel without accruing it. That's Robert Rodriguez's book on how to donate yourself to science to fund your movie.
The last Robert Rodriguez thing was him sitting with who is the producer? Rick Rubin.
Yeah.
And it was nice, but very quickly I was like, these two guys. I won't even go into it, but it was enthralling as they just stroked each other.
I like Robert Rodriguez.
No, they're very talented.
I think he's great.
EatTheRichDay.com.
Yeah. And then I got, my Instagram is just my name, Nick DeKay.
Yeah, Nick DeKay.
All social media about me is my name because I'm not clever. I can't come up with any good names.
Hey, it's special to have your original. So, all right, guys. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the show. And we're going to follow up on this part 2 because Nick says I have John Cooper on too much. So we are now going to have Nicholas DeKay on too much, which will be at Barber coming up October 3rd, I want to say. And so I will be at the Isle of Triumph with my friends from Triumph Motorcycles. And I'll be bringing out my trailer because the last time I was there, we had a really cool set and it was open air. And there was, surprise, surprise, a lot of loud motorcycles racing.
That is a thing that happens at Barber Motorsports Park.
That is a thing that happens at Barber Motorsports Park. So we'll have the trailer out there and we're going to have a lot of fun. So I'm going to put this out in the next couple hours and I hope you check it out. And I'll clip it up and I'll share it. And then stay tuned because something's going to happen at some point and it'll be very exciting.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, and this episode brought to you by Ryder, my dog, because he is my best friend and proudest supporter.
That one?
That one
right here,
down
the
there.
one sitting on my feet?
Yeah. So thanks again, guys, and we will see you again soon. Is it?
All right, sweet.
Huh?
There you go. You got me on your podcast.
I got you.
Hopefully that wasn't too terrible.
No, that was exactly